Hey guys, Brittany coming at you with another hive inspection. It is Saturday, August 2nd. It has been almost 2 weeks since I've gotten into the hives, just with the super hot heat wave that we've had and just life in general. That's just what happened. So it's been a couple weeks since I've been in there, in any of them, and we are going to get in all three hives. We have to find all three queens because I am going to be testing for mites in all three hives, and I don't want to be using my queens in my test. I am not going to be using an alcohol wash because that is my own personal conviction. We're going to be using the sugar roll method, and it's going to be my first time doing that. I'm going to take you along the way and see how it goes. And if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. All right, guys. So, like I said, this is my first time testing for mites. This is my first year beekeeping. I feel very strongly about not using an alcohol wash. I understand the reason. I know it's very important to know your mite counts and treat when necessary. I also wanted to try to be treatment free and encourage them to do natural grooming and stuff. And honestly, the season just really got away from me, and I have not approached that like I really wanted to do and like I probably should have been doing. Right now, we're very beginning of August. The bees are highly likely to be laying winter bees. So we need those bees to be super healthy and not overtaken by Varroa mites and all the viruses that they bring with them. So I need to see what my mite counts are, and I have decided to do a sugar roll method, which upon research, the sugar roll method can still kill bees or cause them to have a shorter lifespan than they would have. However, I feel like it gives them a chance to give me a mite count, but potentially still live. So that's the route I'm going. That's what I'm doing. So what I've done is I have, these are wide mouth pint jars, and I've just cut circles of I'll put it on the screen. It's wire mesh that you would use on screen bottom boards. And I just cut it to fit in this lid. It's wedged in there so then I can dump the bees in here and then put this on. I've already put 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar in here, which is the amount you're supposed to use. And I've put labels on the jars, and I have one for each hive so that I can do the inspections, get the bees in here, let them sit and groom the mites off while they're sitting, and then we'll take them somewhere, another spot, to do the rest of the process of the sugar roll mite test. So this one is the white hive, and green hive, and pink hive. But I'm going to move this one here so I can take this lid off. And I am still feeding all 3 hives. We're going to start with the green hive because I do feel like it's probably, it should be the smallest. So we're going to work our way up. I just checked this. Was it yesterday? I think I checked this yesterday. If it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. And this still had sugar water in it. So I need to refill this. So with me doing 3 hive inspections and testing 3 hives, I definitely want to be laser focused and try to be speedy. We'll see how that goes. Something always seems to slow me down. Just the way that my brain works, I don't focus very well. Well, the past several inspections, I have been wearing shorts because, as I've mentioned, my hives have been, well, the package bees that I started with and grew to 3 hives. They've been super docile, just a great group of bees to start off with and learn from. And I have had no problem inspecting in shorts and just a veil. All right, so this looks like they've definitely grown, so that's good. So I started the year with a package of bees. and started them in this hive. They created swarm cells. I caught them, took my original queen that came with my package, and moved them over to what's now the white hive to do a walkaway split. And then I found super seedure cells, was going to let nature take its course, but then I found my original queen and the new queen still in the hive, and I just couldn't bring myself to just leave two mated queens in there. So I did another split, and this has my original package queen in here. And I am getting in here way later in the day than I wanted to, but it is what it is. All right, so I am going to, I can see that these two for sure are just starter strips. So I'm going to just take out one of these so I have some room to work. And I am feeding them from the top, but I have feeders in the entrance of all three hives, but they're not, it doesn't have feed. I have the feeders in the entrances with water, if that makes sense. So I have water in the entrances and I'm feeding them from the top. It's super, super risky to feed them from the entrance, especially this time of year where robbing is going to start to happen, but I am watering them. I feel like that's just going to give them a leg up having water in there. Oh my. Okay, well, this needs to be cleaned. They've dumped some pollen in there, and a bee or two has died in there, but it is what it is. I feel like the water is good for them to have. I'm seeing several bees with pollen on their legs, so that's good. Did I finish saying I am wearing jeans today, although in the past several inspections I've been wearing shorts. We made it through a heat wave. It was awful. It was actual temps of 95 around that and feels like of like 105, 110. And it was just miserable. And I just felt like the risk of heat exhaustion was higher than getting stung, at least with bees that I have. So that was a risk that I took. Do that at your own risk. Know your hives, your colonies. Okay, these girls are busy. Oh, I'm proud of them. You know, it was kind of a late, not super late, but kind of a late split to make this one. But I kind of went in with it with the mindset of if they don't build up in time for winter, I can always kill this queen or determine which queen I want to keep and then combine the two hives for winter. But it's two mated queens, so they are pushing out double the amount of growth. So to me, that's just a no-brainer, win-win. All right, so they are drawing this out. I don't think they're really drawn out enough for the queen to be laying eggs. And we are specifically looking, we have to find our queen because we're going to be doing mite tests. And I don't want to just look at a frame and say, okay, I don't see my queen on here. It's safe to use these bees for a test. I want to put my eyes on my queen and make sure that she is not in the group of bees that I take for the test. So that may take longer to get through these and do that, but it is what it is. That's what we're going to do. But I do want to try to be quick because, as I mentioned, this is the time of year for robbing, and having a hive open for very long is risky. Now, what we're looking for, obviously the queen, but what we're looking for, other than the usual things that we would be looking for during an inspection, is we are looking for a group of bees that will be good for our test. And that is, we find a frame with open brood because that's going to be the area that you're going to find the most mites because they go for the uncapped brood. I'm seeing eggs and larvae and capped worker brood. Not seeing a queen. Pollen. Happy to see pollen. We have a lot of goldenrod around this area, so I need to learn more about what's in bloom and when. But I feel like we're right around the time that that's going to really start blooming. All right, I see more capped brood, pollen. I see some nectar. I'm not going to spend a ton of time looking for eggs on every frame. This has capped brood. It has uncapped brood though. Oh, small hive beetle. Oh, I got it. Every small hive beetle you can kill protects your hive from hundreds of other small hive beetle. Okay, this could be a good frame. So now I've got this over here that I'm going to shake them in once I am ready to get a sample of bees. So I'm going to just sit this here and I'm going to continue looking to see if I can find my queen. Okay, maybe I need to move this so I don't knock that over. I don't want to do that. So from what I can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, they look to have 4 active frames. And I feel like that's that's pretty good because they started pretty small. I didn't give them much. Now, I did kind of learn the hard way that doing a split later in the season is different from doing it earlier in the season because it was quite hot, and they just I don't feel like they really had enough girl power to cool the hive like it needed to be. I see more eggs. Anyway, I felt like I had a lot dying off, so I added another frame of brood and worker bees to assist in the cooling of the hives. Right, they look to be uncapping brood, which we did find 2 weeks ago when we were in these hives. Did I find that in this one or just the pink hive and white hive? I don't remember for sure offhand. That can be just hygienic behaviors, them trying to control the Varroa mites themselves. So that does have me a little concerned about what the mite levels could be. All right, I see larvae. I see uncapped brood, nectar. I'm kind of wondering, like, maybe this could be a good frame because they're uncapping. There's larvae in here. I think this might be an even better frame, yeah, to take a sample from. So, I don't know. Can I do this one-handed? I'm certainly going to try. I think I'm about to successfully do this one-handed. Oh, shook him a little. Not too bad. Okay. I'm going to put this one back because I do feel like that one that I just put in there is going to have a more accurate count for our mite test. Can you see? You can't see. I've got my feeder board just right here leaning on there so that the bees that are on there can just crawl up and back into the hive because the bees will always crawl up. So at this point, I'm confident my queen's in here. I just want to put eyes on her so that I can make sure for sure that she's not in our mite test because that would just be awful. All right, while we're at it, and I'm sorry, I have not been showing you the frames. So let's see, I have capped worker brood, pollen, they're uncapping some cells. I see eggs and empty cells. And the ones they're uncapping, okay, this is interesting. I was wondering if possibly they were uncapping drone brood. And the last inspection, I was kind of in a hurry. I had company coming over, and it was kind of a surprise to find them uncapping brood because I hadn't seen that before. And afterwards, I was wondering, were they possibly uncapping drone brood because it's towards the end of the season and they don't want to waste resources on them? So I'm looking at this frame, okay, and I'm looking at worker cells, but I'm seeing uncapped cells that to me look more like the capping that was there looks more raised, like the dome capping that a drone brood cell has on the bottom towards the middle. I hope the shadows don't make it impossible to see. I'll try to zoom in on it and show you, but I don't know. Is it possible that, I'm sure they have mites. To have zero mites, especially since I have not treated them, to have zero mites would be very difficult. There's my queen. Okay, she's in here. There's Queen Beatrice. Oh, look, she has a little spotlight from the sun shining on her. Okay. She's got a special place in my heart because she's my first queen and she is a beast. She has created for me now 3 hives, and my 2 other queens are her daughters, and I'm just a mushy softie, and she just holds a special place in my heart. And I love nature, but I also hate how cruel nature is, and I know that she won't last forever, but I don't know. I'm being sentimental about a queen bee, but that's me. That's who I am, and I'm not ashamed of it. Okay, queen's here, and since we have 2 more hives to inspect and take samples from, I feel like that's a good frame to take a sample from for a test. And so that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to get this back together and move along. All right, so I have my jar ready to go. I'm going to just set it back here. And I have this cup that I poured a half cup of water in here, and I marked it for that to be my half cup. You need a half cup of bees to test. So I am going to see if this works. I need to shake bees off of this and then get a collection. Some just kind of scrape them off the side of the frame into the cup. I don't like that idea. I'm not saying it's wrong, but for me, I don't like it because I feel like you're going to potentially injure bees that way. And I want to injure as few bees as possible in any of my beekeeping. So I hope that's enough. Put this back. You can't see me, but that's what I'm doing. And they're flying around. They're a little flighty, but they're being good to me. Okay. Okay. Can you see that? Mostly. Okay. Get some bees. Okay. And there's our sample. Okay, we're gonna get the lid on there. I don't want these in the sun. I'm gonna sit these over here out of the sun. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pour these girls back in their hive. I got them all. Oh, all but one. Here we go. Okay. All right. So all of these flying around, they should find their way back in from what I have heard. And they are fanning pheromones, which could potentially get me stung. All right, we're going to put this back on here. And getting them closed up is going to really help them to calm down. A couple of bees right here that are on the edge. I don't want to smash them. Okay, here we go. Again, I will say, oh my gosh, I'm a dum-dum. I didn't get the other frame back in there. Shoot. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. Okay, so now I will also say, do this at your own risk with having little protection. I would like to note that I didn't get a single sting during that. So that just really goes to show how docile my bees are. All right, so we have our first sample here. And what I am going to do is I want to get them coated. This is obviously going to be stressful for the bees, which I don't like, but I feel like it's a necessary evil for the overall health of the hive. I don't know if you can hear with the noise cancellation. They aren't happy with me right now, but girls, this is to help your sisters, okay? This is to help. So what I'm going to do is just roll them around. Sugar roll test is, there's a reason for the test name. I don't want to pour it out from this. I just want to make sure that they are very coated. The method behind it is that they will groom the powdered sugar off, and in the process they will groom the mites off, and then we shake the mites through here and do a mite count. Okay, so they're coated. We're going to let them sit and groom in the shade while we start on this next hive. And you can see, can you see? I guess you can. The cloud of bees that was here is no more. They are back in there for the most part. And I mean, we poured a bunch of them back in there. So let's see. I'm going to put that there. And I'll get this off. And I checked on this feed the same day that I checked on that feed, which, okay, this hive still has some. I'm pretty sure, like I said, I'm pretty sure it was yesterday that I checked. Gotta be careful where I sit this stuff because I do have poison ivy growing all around here. Yay me. So now, the thing that just crossed my mind, it's not a big deal, but because we didn't finish looking at the frames, you know, I didn't get to see what the rest of the frames looked like. I don't think that's a super big deal, but the thing that just crossed my mind is what I didn't really see a lot of was resources. They were bringing in a lot of pollen, but I wasn't really seeing a ton of nectar. I really don't think I saw any capped honey. That may have to do with the fact that I've been feeding them, maybe. I don't know. Similar situation that was over there. Was it 4 frames, active frames, I think? From what I see, in this one I see 1, 2, 3, 4 active frames. Not too great, not too bad. And I am using this style of hive tool again this week. Last inspection I used this one for the first time. I had been using this one in all my inspections prior to that. And the only major difference is that this is like this, which is helpful at times. I've used it a lot when I'm opening my smoker because it gets stuck with like the sap and residue that's on there. So that I find helpful with that. But honestly, I do like this hive tool better for my inspections. It's a little bit smaller, less bulky. It's really, honestly, it's the same size, but it's less bulky because of this. So I don't know. I do like it better. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing as I did in the other one and just take out this frame. I might be able to just do this one. Yeah, we'll just take this. It'll be a little easier to take this one out, and it'll be less likely that the queen's anywhere near this frame. All right, can I put this here? Small Hive beetle. I got him. Ha, or her. I don't know. All right. They're working on drawing it out, but nothing major. Got some patchy pollen there. Nothing to write home about. Oh, I see some nectar and pollen. I don't feel like this is a frame we would find our queen on at all. And I've made mention of pink hive really doing a lot of propalizing, but this hive is starting to do the same. I've got a lot of bees right there on the edge looking at me, and David Burns has said that if you have a bunch of bees there looking at you, they're not working, they're focusing on you, and maybe they need to get to working and not be focusing on you. So it's a good time to smoke. Now this hive was doing some uncapping 2 weeks ago when we were in here. I see some uncapping still again. Need to use this light for me. I see larvae. I see some really small larvae, pollen, capped brood. No, I'm not seeing eggs yet. All right, trying to look really close to see if I'm seeing any mites on them. That can indicate a bad infestation. If you have mites on the bees that are walking around in your hive, then that's not a good sign, but I'm not seeing any thus far. All right, we gotta move along. All right, more kept brood nectar. They're using oh, that smoke's getting me. They're using drone cells for nectar, and oh, I see eggs, so that's good. So we can kind of move along a little faster. I'm not seeing my queen. I'm gonna move along. And, even though I have prior to this, I've been getting into my hives pretty much once a week. I don't see a huge problem with having gone 2 weeks between my inspections because, I mean, when you do an inspection, it does stress the bees a little, even if you aren't killing it, you're taking your time, not smashing a bunch of bees, it's still stressful on the bees regardless. So since especially green hive and white hive are trying to build up in time for winter, starting from not much, I don't think it's a bad thing that they had a little longer to not be disrupted. All right, seeing eggs, larvae, capped brood, some pollen, nectar. I have a feeling that one of my queens is going to make it difficult on me and make it hard to find her and then move along with a sample. I feel like this frame would be a good frame to take a sample from, but I need to find my queen before I'm comfortable doing that. I'm not seeing her on this frame. So you can just see, hopefully you can see, this frame just has capped brood, but it also has uncapped brood, with the larvae, and those are the cells where the Varroa mites are going to be trying to jump into. So they're going to be on the bees that are working around open, uncapped brood frames. I need this to not be in the sun. I'm going to put this over here. Is it hot? It's not too bad. It's a little warm, but they're used to a warm spot. So I'm going to sit this frame in here carefully because although I did not see my queen, because I haven't seen my queen, I don't actually know where she's at. And as I always say, I don't want to kill any bees, but obviously I don't want to kill my queen. So the queen in here is one that they raised with from supersedure cells. My original package queen was in here from the walkway split that I did, and they were superseding her for whatever reason. There are honestly so many reasons why they would, multiple reasons why they might want to supersede their queen. It could be for brood break. It could be because she's not laying like they want. Maybe didn't have enough room that they thought and she was taking up space. All right, I'm seeing eggs and more eggs. See some bees being born. Kept brood. There's my queen. Okay. Can you see her? That might be kind of hard with that sun shining through and the shadows, but she's there. So let's see. That frame's pretty light. I know that that's definitely a brood frame. What's this one feel like? It's pretty light too. I do want to take a look before I get them all kinds of angry. I'm going to take a look at this small hive beetle trap. There's one in there. I'm trying to think. Did I empty it last time? I don't know. But see, we'll put that back. And then I'm curious if this has resources because I'm not really seeing a bunch of resources. Okay, this has a lot of nectar in it. I mean, not enough to survive winter, but they do have a start. I'm not seeing any capped honey, but it has also been super, super humid, which slows down the process of turning the nectar into honey. And I am seeing on a few bees, I think this is the third one that I've seen it on. I'm going to take a close up. Where'd she go? Oh, right there. I'm not sure what this is. She just kind of, you can see, I'll put it on the screen. It's like a thin layer of, I don't know, something on her thorax. Is it thorax or abdomen? The bottom part. Why don't I know that? I can't help but think perhaps that's an issue that mites could cause, like while the brood is developing. But that's something I'm going to have to research. I'll pop it on the screen if I find an answer as to what that is. I don't know. Okay, move along. Do this one a little differently because of the small hive beetle trap. And the kit that I got as a gift from Amazon, it had 2 of the small hive beetle traps. So I don't have one in my green hive. So I do need to get more. And the queen was on this one. I'm going to take it out and lay eyes on her again before I start scooting the frames together. I would rather take more time and be cautious than to get in a hurry. I feel like you really can't be a person that's in a hurry when it comes to beekeeping. Oh, there she is. There's my queen. All right, I'm going to put this one up to this one because my queen is on this one. That way. So now I'm going to move these together. Let's see. I kind of want to put that one frame because it was drawn out more than just these starter strips. I kind of want to put that in this empty spot. Oh, but wait, I'm going to have 2 to put in here because of the one I have the sample from. Oh my goodness. Oh, that bee just jumped at my hive tool. We're going to smoke ya. Okay. All right, what am I going to do? You know what? We're going to just push these and put the other frames with this. This frame right here is just a foundation strip. We are going to put that next to these that are active frames that they're working, and then put the frame that has the test bees we're going to take. We're going to put it here, and then this other one we'll put over here. Yeah, try to encourage them to draw things out a little more and faster. Is that what I want to do? Kind of shifted it a little. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to put this one back in there. Put it right here. And now we're going to take our sample bees. All right. So got my jar right here, and I'm going to shake some bees off. I don't think I'm going to drop it. I don't think that really was very, very helpful. Especially with maybe if I had a box that was a little bit bigger where it could actually hit the bottom, but I don't know. It wasn't really necessary, so, or helpful. So we're going to just shake them off. And I definitely got way more than I needed last time, so I'm not going to try to get a bunch more off. Put this in here, and we'll get our sample. Where'd my cup go? Oh, my cup blew down here. Okay. Shake them down here. Let you go, and then put them in here. Okay, there's sample number 2. All right, we're going to get these bees back in their hive. Before I do that, I'm going to get these frames where I want them so I can get them closed up more quickly. All right. Most of them. All of them. All right, now we're going to get this back on there. Smoker, make sure they're not on the edges. They are not on the edges, so I think we're good. All right, and we'll get this back on there. And the lid. All right, so this is sample number 2 from White Hive. So what I'm going to do is the same thing that I did with the other one, the first sample. Try to get them coated really well and let them start grooming. And I am not finding joy in this, but it's a necessary evil. I want to be a good steward as a beekeeper, and part of that is making sure that the colonies are at a good level of mites. I guess there's no good level of mites, but you know, like an okay, acceptable level. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and this is the green hive sample that's been sitting. I'm going to roll them around a little more, get them coated again. You know, some people say that the sugar roll method is not as accurate as the alcohol wash, and that's probably true to some degree, but I have seen videos with comparisons, and if you do it right, you can get a pretty accurate mite count. So that's what we're going to try to do. And I do not have any treatment in my possession. But that, first of all, we're going to establish if we need to treat. I feel like we're probably going to need to treat, but we're going to find that out for sure. But even if we were in need of treating, the bees are already getting stressed today from an inspection, and then those bees especially are being stressed from the sugar roll test. So the time that it'll take me to order a treatment and get it in, and then get it in the hives, will give them time to kind of recoup from the stress. All right, so this is our double decker. I just changed their feed yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Whatever day it was that I checked the feed, yesterday or the day before, I gave them more feed, and the others still had feed. And oh my gosh, I want to check something. That's almost empty. So either they are ravaging the sugar syrup or it's pouring out of there. I'm checking this bottom board, under my screen bottom board, and I don't see any pools of sugar water. So I do have ants in here, so I don't know. They could be, I mean, I'm sure they're drinking some too, but this is a pretty good size hive, so maybe they're just really utilizing the feed. So the last inspection, and then the inspection, I think the inspection before that was when I had expanded them. I'm losing track of weeks. Anyway, regardless, I've been a little disappointed with their progress in drawing out the frames in the second deep. I know that honestly this time of year is not the most ideal time of year to have bees drawing out frames, but that's where I'm at with my specific situation as a result of having done 2 splits. It just is what it is. So I've been feeding them, and hopefully they can catch up. And I do this one-handed. This one down here, because I really don't have room right here to do it. So a couple weeks ago during the last hive inspection, we did some major frame manipulation to try to encourage them to get up here more and start really drawing it out. Like I said, it's been super hot, and this hive especially has been doing bearding. They've just been on the entrance and the front side of it. They haven't been actually like in a cluster hanging off, but they've definitely been bearding. The other frames, not frames, the other hives have done some mild bearding, but they're much smaller and didn't have as much body heat to be dispersing from the hive as this one would. So I feel like they've got to be decently big for the bearding they've been doing, but I don't know. So I'm all of 5'1", so I do have my hives on probably a taller stand. Dang it, they're stuck. Taller stand than a lot of people have them on, which makes it just a little more challenging in this top deep because it's right here. I guess it's better on my back, but it's just a little more challenging to work. Okay, this foundation. Now what I plan to do is, I do want to take a look at this top box, but I feel like I definitely need to take my sample from the lower box. In my mind, that seems like the thing I need to do. Oh, they have some larvae there, so that tells me they are uncapping in this one. I may just scoot this one over. I want to take a peek, see what they're doing, if they're drawing it out at all. They are. They're drawing it out. So, you know, that's progress. Not deep enough for eggs yet. They're drawing it out on that side too. Kind of would have been nice to have gotten into this one first since the sun hits it first, but it is what it is. Honestly, I'm not, I wish I wasn't in the sun right now like I am, but I don't regret starting with the smallest hive. This frame is heavy. It has lots of nectar in here, almost entirely nectar. There's a queen cell. I think it's just a practice. I don't think it's charged. All right. I think this is entirely nectar, which is going to be a good frame of honey for the winter. So my setup that I built to help control ants has really helped. However, I feel like the ants are dropping on here from the trees above in part. All right, well, they're getting this drawn out, but again, not deep enough to find eggs, but I'm glad to see that they are drawing it out. That's progress. And from what I've heard, the queen loves newly drawn comb, but like I said, this is not really deep enough for eggs yet, so I don't think I'm going to find her on here. This is my queen who likes to play hide and seek. She doesn't like to be seen, although I have found her every time. Dang it, this is the frame that was falling over, and it's still falling over. I think we're going to have to maybe use some rubber bands. It's not horribly fallen over and attached, so that's good, I guess. All right, we have some brood, capped brood, and let's see if our queen's been up here. See a little bee butt cleaning out a cell. See some uncapped brood. Dang it, can't see if there are eggs or larvae, like young larvae. Can't tell. Nectar on this side and more capped brood. Not seeing my queen. All right, I do need to figure this situation out. I'm gonna just break this off and make them connected up here better. I wonder if I could scooch this up here and attach it. Oh, look at me. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm gonna try messing up some of their cells and their work, but I think in the long run, this might work and help fix this. Okay, I think I need to smoke them real quick. Can I make this work? We will see. I'm just trying to kind of scooch this, press it to the top bar, see if we can get them to fix that to where it's attached to the frame and not falling over. It's not pretty, but I think it might work. Can you see that? I cannot see my screen. So this right here, I just broke off this chunk right here and I kind of like tried to squish it there, and we'll see if that helps. As I've mentioned, let's see, I think a couple of inspections ago was my first time inspecting this as a double deep hive, and I've got to say it is a little more daunting. There's no reason for this inspection to really be any different from a single deep hive inspection, but as a new beekeeper, it is kind of daunting getting in here with it being a double deep. There's just more to look at. There's more bees, so I would just say if you feel like that and you're a newbie, you're not alone, but it's okay. We're okay. We can do this, and it's not as bad as it might seem. All right, I don't see my queen up here. So what I'm going to do is put this back, see if we can scoot these so that we can get our frame back in there that we took out without having to, oh, here we go. We're going to just, there we go. We'll press like that. That's good. If you get your hive tool down in there, it gives you a little more leverage. I'm really finding over the past few years of my life with my hobbies and things that I've gotten into, I feel like I should have enjoyed my science classes way more than I did. Maybe I needed different teachers that didn't hate their lives. This is another thing. I don't know if I finished saying this. Dang it. That's the way my brain works, especially with kind of sensory overload. So many, it's peaceful. Beekeeping is peaceful, but it's also like there's a lot to observe. Don't know if I finished saying this, but I am wearing jeans because it's not as hot as it has been. But also with me taking the samples for the testing for Varroa mites, I kind of anticipated, maybe needing a little more protection. Not that jeans really give that great of protection, but they do give a little more than just shorts and bare legs would have. But also this time of year, the gnats and sweat bees are just awful. So I also kind of had in my head, since it's not as hot and I can survive in jeans, it'll give me a little more protection from the gnats and sweat bees, which, they're not going to hurt me, but they're just annoying. So, yeah. All right, so let's see. We have, do I want to count them as active frames? There is one active frame up in the top, but that's one we moved up that has brood in it. From what I can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 active frames. Kind of seems like this one should have more going on, as big as they are. I don't know. I guess, it's a lot of work, I know, to draw out frames and all the things, but I don't know. All right. Guess we'll just take this one out since they're so big. There we go. All right. Starter strip. I do want to take a peek over here, see if they're bearding. Stick my face all up in the bees. A little bit. Oh, I am going to remember this time. I need to fix, each of my 3 hives have a different style of entrance feeder. And this one that I have on this one, it was just a little more difficult to get. I couldn't get it all the way in to the entrance because I put it in with the hive assembled. And I keep forgetting to fix it when I've got the hive apart. hopefully I'll actually remember. You're not here to remind me, so I'm going to have to remember on my own. Maybe I should do that right this second once I put this frame down. Okay, they are drawing this out. Again, not really deep enough for eggs to be laid in. Right. That's what I'm going to do because I'm going to fix this feeder while I can. There we go. Okay, way better. Okay, that's fixed. I'm glad I got that fixed. I think they still have been able to use it, but it's just probably not as effectively as as they should be able to now. Okay, where are you, Queenie? We're also going to start to be getting into the brood nest, and we need to figure out which frame we're going to take for the test. All right. Oh, there's my queen under there, and she's going to the other side. This is the one that plays hide and seek and is more elusive. Yeah, she's going back under. I'm not going to try to make her be seen. It's quite bright. There's capped brood, larva, the eggs. Kind of a heavier frame, but honestly, I'm not really seeing a ton of resources. I think it's not super heavy. I guess there could be resources on this side. Yeah, but there aren't. All right, now, oh, there she is. Can you see her? I can't see my screen, so hopefully you can see her. Okay, so dang it, she keeps going to the other side. There she is. Oh, there's little bee feeding her queen. There, she's on this side. I'm gonna get her in here. Okay, this is a light frame, so it's likely all brood. You know, this is probably a really good frame to take a sample from. There's lots of open brood on this one, so I just need to make sure that the queen didn't hop over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna check the bottom here, make sure she's not there on the bottom. Yeah, there's egg or two. All right, I'm gonna sit this frame over in my box, move it to the shade. So I've got that frame in there, and I just want to take a peek at this one and find my queen again. She was on this frame. Oh, there she is. Okay, she's still on this frame. All right, I guess while we're at it and we're in here, I'm gonna take a peek, just see what, like, do they have resources in here? Or do I stop? Do I stop? We know the queen's in here. She's laying. We need to take our sample and move along. I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna make myself a liar. I want to look at this frame, what they have going on. One of the things that I have found to be more challenging when inspecting a double deep is they're just further up on the frames, and I really have to kind of really smoke them to get them down where I can grab the frames and not have a bunch of bees there. Okay, I'm gonna take a peek here, see what we got going on. Okay, there's capped brood, but there's also pollen and some nectar. Not a ton, but some. These frames, in my opinion, they do need to be very, very specific. Of course, I could put, you know what? Yes, I'm going to. I am going to manipulate some frames down here too. I'm going to try to get them to really work in. They don't like to have space in the brood nest. See if we can fit this one in there. I'm going to need a little more space. Oh, small hot beetle. Oh, I got it. Two. Woohoo. Oh, I need to go this way. That's what I need to do. Scoot them that way just a little so I can slide in. And look at the markings that they left with the propolis, and that'll get me pretty well lined up. All right, so now the frame we have out has brood. Let's see, I think what I want to do, these two frames look like they're pretty much like a starter strip. Not really super drawn out. All right, so I pretty much have those lined up where they need to be. So I think when I go to put the other frame in here, they should line up pretty well. Is this down enough? Okay, we're gonna go take the sample. All right, shake our bees in here and put them back. Okay, so what you couldn't see was I got the frame put back in there, and I went ahead and got the second deep box on there and covered it with the feeder board so that they can calm down. Okay, so we have our sample here, and we're gonna put these girls back. All right, so we are at my outdoor kitchen that I still need to finish. I have my sample bees, and I have a notepad and a pencil, writing utensil. I have this white plate, a white plate or very light colored plate with no designs on it is going to be very helpful when you're counting your mites. So let's see, we have white hive, green hive, pink hive. So I started, the first sample I took was the green hive, and then the white hive, and then the pink hive. So we're going to go in that order. I have shaken these girls a few times just so they can, and actually I've done more of like a roll than a shake, because if I shake it, I guess I can do that, but I don't want to shake them out from here until I'm ready to. Got some girls here on top I need to get down there, because if they're not all down in there, then we're not getting counts from all the bees. Of course, we don't know if the half cup we took is exactly 300 bees. A half cup of bees is round about 300 bees, which is what you want for your sample. So just want to get them down from the top and coat them. And I want to kind of do this over here because if any mites happen to fall out while I'm doing this, I want to count those towards that hive's numbers. I don't want to shake them too much because I am using this method to try to not kill bees, or at least not as many bees. The problem with this and the way that they end up dying from this is the powdered sugar gets in where they breathe and clogs it. They don't clean it out well enough and then they die. So I'm just trying to make sure they're coated well so that they will groom the mites off, and we can shake the mites off and get a good sample. And then I also have some water here because once we shake them on here, it'll make it easier to see the mites if we pour the water on here and then the powdered sugar is liquefied. It'll make a clear liquid. Okay, that's going to be the last one that we do. So we're going to let them kind of sit and groom for a little while. We're going to start with the green hive. So I'm going to write down green, white, and pink. Green hive first. There's some little specks, but that's not Varroa mites. You're not going to be able to see this really well. I'll try to give you, I see a mite there. There's one that fell off, but I do see that the water is definitely going to make it easier to see the mites. I'm going to go ahead and pour water in here. And you need to make sure that you don't want to count stuff that's not mites, obviously, but you know, if you see, make sure you're not counting pollen or just little flecks of dirt. I really don't like doing this, but I have to get a mite count so I know where we're at. All right, I'm gonna let them sit. Got a stick or something? No, I'll just use my finger. I think that's one. That's dirt. Right, so we have, so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a speck of dirt, 7, 8, 9. All right, and I don't see any more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. It's sticky now. Okay, so that was green hive 9 so far. I'm just going to do hash marks 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, we're going to continue with green hive, see if we get any more. I'm going to go ahead and dump this, get those little bits out, and add a little fresh water. Okay, the wind's blowing. I don't know if that's going to blow mites mid-air or not. Trying to keep it low. Not seeing any more. Not seeing any more coming out. Not getting any more. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep these in here, let them keep grooming, and then check the other ones, and then we can come back to them. All right, so shoot. Oh my gosh. All right, no more mites are coming out from the green hive, so we're going to move along to white hive. Okay, so far I'm not getting any. Now, I don't know. They were definitely uncapping brood, which is a way that they can be hygienic and get rid of mites. But oh my goodness, is it even possible to have a hive that can handle the mite load entirely and get themselves down to 0? I don't know if that's a realistic thought. I mean, I'm literally not getting any mites from this one. This is white hive. All right, I'm gonna come back to that one. Let's roll this one around. This is pink hive. This is my largest hive population. they were uncapping some brood too. Green hive was too, but they're still a pretty small hive. I think what I might do is, I mean, like I said, I don't have any treatment on hand yet, so I can't treat anyway yet if I need to. But I'm kind of thinking I might just get the bottom boards that go under my screen boards, get those cleaned up, and then do a 24-hour check to see if there are any mites on the bottom boards. So, like on the white hive, so far they're coming up with no mites, which that's hard to believe. But I can do a 24-hour count on the bottom board to see if they have any fallen off of them. I mean, this I can already see this pink hive has them fallen off. That's just kind of weird to have 0 mites. That's too good to be true, I think. All right, let's let them have a break and see what we have here. Okay, that is a Varroa Mite that was on my shirt. I don't know if that was on my hand from when I wiped the others off or from here. I can't accurately say if it was from this or not, so I'm not gonna count it towards this one because I don't know. So that's interesting. 1, 2, 3. What I might do is just do the calculations and add 1 in, like if that might happen to have been from this one, and just see what the numbers would be with that. I have 4 so far. Right, that's pink hive, so I have 4 so far. I'm gonna dump this, get some fresh water, shake some more, see what we come up with. If we come up with any more. So far, green hive, which should probably be the smallest hive, has the highest mite count. That's not good. Not seeing any coming out of this anymore. Not seeing any more coming out from that one. Let's check the white one again. I mean, it's very hard to believe that there are 0 mites in here. See, white hive. Yeah, white hive is the one who superseded my original queen. Did they possibly raise themselves such a good queen that's super hygienic? I don't know. Or did I just somehow get a bad sample? How would I get a sample of this many bees and not a single mite? That doesn't make sense. Not one bit of sense. I'm not getting any mites from this one. Okay. All right. See if we get any more from green. No. Check pink hive again. Not getting any more. No. Not a single mite from white hive. That's bizarre. Alright, so the way that I am putting these bees back, I've already done pink hive, green hive, and I'm now on white hive. I've got the bees here. I'm just sliding this over. Again, do this at your own risk. I don't have any protection on right now. And so far, so good. And then I have my bee brush, and I'm just trying to brush them in there where I can close this up. And then in my mind, with them being in the hive with more bees that aren't covered, those girls will help them. The girls that aren't covered in powdered sugar will help groom the girls who are covered in powdered sugar, who were our sample bees. And in theory, in my mind, they will have a greater chance of cleaning up and surviving. All right, so we have our test results. I'm still not sure what to think about white hive having 0 mites, but I'm going to look into that and we'll see what I come up with. But as far as the others go, so green hive had the most, which isn't great because they are probably the smallest hive that I have as far as population goes. So not ideal, but they had 9 mites. So what you do is to calculate how many you have or the percentage you have is you take the number. So we had 9 mites, add 2 zeros, and then divide by 300 because we had 300 bees. Assumably had 300 bees if our half cup equaled 300 bees that it should have. So 900 divided by 300 is 3. That is within an acceptable level, an acceptable range of mites. Obviously, with them being a smaller population and having the higher number, I don't love that, but I'm going to continue to monitor them. Like I said, I'm going to do the clean the bottom boards off and do a 24-hour count of what falls on those and get an idea of what's going on in the hives based on that. And it's also a side note, that's a way you can monitor your hives in the winter. When you aren't able to open them up, you can, if you overwinter with a screen bottom board, you can check the board that goes in and out and see what activity is going on. So We have a 3 for the green, 0 for white because they seemingly have 0. And then we had 4 in the pink hive. So we have a 4, add 2 zeros, and then divide by the 300 bees. So that would be 1.33. So that's a good number. Now, there is the theory, or it said that powdered sugar roll is not the most accurate. It's not as accurate as an alcohol wash test would be. I'm just not willing to kill 300 bees per hive. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm open to evolve and change, but for now, that's where I'm at. So those numbers, if they're accurate, they are decent numbers. But I'm going to continue monitoring them. I'm going to really focus in on monitoring the bottom boards and the activity on that. You know, maybe their uncapping is actually showing results with the mite numbers by their hygienic behavior. I don't know. Time will tell. I guess honestly, the true test will be next spring if they're all alive, which I don't want to think about. So over the next 2 days after this video, I monitored my bottom boards. I checked after the first 24 hours and then again after the second 24 hours. So pink hive on the first check had 8, green hive had 6, and white hive had 7. On the second day, pink hive still had 8, green hive had 7, and white hive had 4. So just to be clear, this was not another sugar shake test. These were actual mite counts on my bottom board. So an acceptable level of Varroa mites on a sticky board after a 24-hour check is less than 9 mites in the spring and less than 11 to 12 in the fall. We have our mite test done. I'm happy to have that behind me, and glad you came along the way. I hope you learned something. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss uploads from me. I typically do weekly inspections and I video those. I've been videoing my whole first year of beekeeping, so check out those videos. Not an experienced beekeeper, but I've definitely learned a lot in this first year, just a few months of beekeeping. My bees have kept me on my toes. Also, check out my website, brittany'sbotanicalbling.com. I sell handmade items there, including the beekeeping veil that I was wearing and other items. And I have some updates and new things to come that I will be making a video about and announcing on my website and my channel. So be on the lookout for that. With that said, I will stop rambling and let you guys go, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.